I am a goofball. I'm weird, freaky, think odd stuff, see stuff a different way. Maybe like you. Perhaps you were 5, 15, 17, 21, 22, maybe 52. When you woke up one day and went, I think I'm weird. Maybe your parents reminded you of that when you were doing something weird. Somewhere along the way, maybe you were one of those folks who played the tree when you were 6. I wasn't that guy. But somewhere along there, it struck you, there's this thing called theater, and maybe I want to be a performer. Maybe I'm an artist. Maybe that's something that I'd like to do because I'm a goofball. I was a class clown back in my day. Where I'm from, you got paddled for that. I got paddled a lot. I wasn't in the principal's office because I was late. Perhaps that's you. And then one day, you had this epiphany, or maybe somebody said it to you, and you were like, hey, I could get paid for this, because people do. I can see that there are people who are getting paid to do this, so why not me? And then somewhere in there, that term show business got brought up. You were sitting on your sofa one day and you were watching some TV show or some commercial and you were like, I could do that. Wherever you were sitting, some of you might have been sitting right here in Los Angeles. Some of you might have been in Buttsnot, Tennessee in a theater like I was. And so all along that way, then it's like, oh, well, show business. I guess I got to get some pictures. That's the business. I got to get a representative. I've had 46. Yeah, that's the business. Show business. I know. That's what everybody's talking about. It's not show art, it's show business. And then maybe even you made the decision somewhere along the way, like I did, to go from point A to point B, maybe even to point C. And maybe you wound up here. But none of those things address the first thing that I want to talk to you about today, which is what I call the decision. We've made a lot of decisions in our time to this point with regards to the concept of what I'd like to get paid for being a goofball. A lot of decisions. None of them, however, are the decision. The reason why they're not is because show business, you guys, is not just that this profession, this art, this craft can be about making money. And it's funny, people do theater and they don't say show business. They only say show business all of a sudden when you're doing something in front of a camera for film and television or commercials, as if people don't get paid for doing theater in other places. The business changes drastically when you move from the idea of on stage, where I'm currently standing, versus in front of a camera. It changes for us, and that's why the decision is so important, that I guarantee you no one in this room has made in the way I'm going to describe it to you. And I want everybody here to realize today, throughout today, I'm on your side. I have no dog in the fight of your career. Because when you suddenly decide that you actually want to do this for money, we have to clarify the vast difference, not just between show and business, but between the artistic self of you inside of you versus the business of how the outside world sees you. That's what show business really means, whether we like it or not. And quite frankly, we don't. You have to sit down and really decide to be a product for sale. Because being a product for sale has nothing to do with you being a goofball or a weirdo or funny or having weird thoughts, or having a fast mind, or being a smartass, or any of those things, or how talented you may be at doing Shakespeare. Doesn't matter. Being a product for sale means that the outside world, known as casting, sees you not necessarily how you feel inside. It doesn't necessarily drive why you like performing, why I like performing. I was a stand-up comic. I was an improv artist, former stand-up comic, sir. That's why you haven't laughed yet, but don't worry, it's coming. I'm just sharing with you that this decision is something that's extraordinarily important, because what I will tell you is when you have not made that decision, our feelings as a human being, our insecurities as a performer or just as a person, get all convoluted with the business realities of doing this as a business. There is no cognitive reality between someone being a 5'10" white guy and someone being a 6'4" black man. But for some reason, when someone decides to go with a 6'4" black man instead of you, if you're the 5'10" white guy, we somehow take it personally. And it isn't. That would be like every car you never bought or every pair of shoes next to the ones you bought being upset that you didn't need a pump or a wedge that day. Thank you. And that's one of the reasons, guys, that everything that we do, if you have not made this decision, you will indeed take it personally that something didn't go your way. And this isn't just about being cast, you guys. Not at all. Not in any way, shape, form, or fashion. This has to do with everything that happens all the time regarding the business, and it's not fun. Because you cannot change. You can alter or tweak a little bit how you are on the outside, but you have to understand that does not have anything to do with the juice on the inside that makes you a performer or makes you an artist. And when you understand that fully, and I mean fully, sitting alone tomorrow for an hour by yourself and making that decision, it will change how you both pursue this profession, how you view this profession, and how you actually can survive this profession. Because that's the difference of show and business. It's a crazy, crazy thing, but it's really important to understand. You are not going to ever, if you're one of the people sitting on the side of producers, if you're sitting on the other side of camera, and you have 6 or 7 people, all of whom are very talented, the person who chooses to get the job by the people in charge is not going to be necessarily predicated on their talent. It's going to be predicated on the outside box. And the outside box isn't why you decided to get pictures made. It's not why you decided to move to California. It can influence it for sure. You could have had plenty of people when you're in high school telling you how hot you were, how much you should be in Hollywood, and then you came to Hollywood and realized what hot really meant. Because there's hot and then there's Hollywood hot. And my point in that, guys, is that look, I'm a 5'10" white guy. Cuter to some, prettier to others, ugly to some, character, offbeat character, sometimes leading, not really sure you're leading, depends on the cast. Who knows? I know this, I'm not an Asian female. I know that if I was Dustin Hoffman in Tootsie, I would believe that I could play an Asian female, but I'm not. And just like a show a long time ago that I was up for when they go, oh, dude, you were close, but we decided to go Asian female. What? And if you don't make the decision, we somehow conflate that into something about us, into something about the goofball who was the class clown. We turn that into something then that actually stops us from going after the very people that are going to be here today. It stops us from making the effort to go out to that place and possibly meet that person. Guys, when you realize that you have made the decision, that the outside of you is not the inside of you, it is a contributing factor to being hired on a given day. And for every reason you get hired on one day will be a reason you don't get hired another. You cannot change that. But you're a walking billboard for what you're selling. And yet because I believe We haven't made this decision not to over-emotionalize, not to conflate unwantedness or rejection, which is simply not true 99.99% of the time. We keep to ourselves. The only people we hang out with are out-of-work actors. We don't put ourselves in the position enough to have somebody become aware of our product, unless, of course, we're paying to have them read us. So we do theater because we love it. We still get involved in productions because we love it. And we hope that somebody in the business will actually come to that environment and see us and like us or want to help us professionally. But so much of this business, you guys, as the old phrase goes, it's who you know, and I've been saying for 20 plus years, it's who knows you. And I've been saying that for a long time, but people can't get to know you if you're not out there. But it's the part of us that wants to perform first and be second that keeps us from, in my opinion, doing better in show business. The outside of you is what it is. Maybe you can lose some weight. Maybe you can have your breasts enhanced. All of these things are part of your product. Tall, short, high, wear heels, doesn't matter, guys. Blonde hair, blue hair, red hair. You guys can change a little bit the outside of you, but the core of the outside of you is going to remain the same. The inside of you, you can work on and make better and better. But the difference between those two things, in my opinion, is a Grand Canyon. And when you make the decision, I am a product for sale, and I'm also a performer. Peanut butter and jelly, but they're not the same thing. They go hand in hand. And so I'm urging you, going forward from today, take some time, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, sit down, look at yourself in the mirror, I mean it, and understand you're a product for sale. It doesn't touch this in here. It doesn't change who you are and what makes you special when you walk in and read those 3 lines on that piece of paper, or those 3 pages, or those 7 pages. It doesn't change that. Whether someone decides to buy you as the pump or the wedge that day, who knows? If you're talented in the room, that matters a zillion% because it will get you back in that room again someday. When you actually get told yes, who knows? That's one of the reasons why it's confusing now with all of the web technology and digital technology, that we don't have to audition as much as we used to, because our friend who's doing a film in the backyard with a parrot and a goat and a guy named Billy just gives you a job. And that's nothing against the project with a parrot and a goat and a guy named Billy. It's possible that project is awesome. But back in my day, you didn't get a job unless it was actually something that was for a network or for a film or for a legitimate independent. So I'm begging you guys, as a longtime veteran, I'm begging you to really think about what the decision I have presented to you means and what it's really about. My name is Kevin E. West. Welcome to 21st Century Hollywood.
Ladies and gentlemen, Kevin E. West.